So we're bringing in a new player to your role-playing game. We've got a new player sitting down, tabletop D&D. How can we begin to approach this? What would be fair? What would be expected? Now, my number one tabletop rule is that everyone has a place at the table. If you see us playing at the store and you've never played D&D before and you kind of want to sit down and play, and you can only make it for one adventure, have a seat. We'll write you in. We'll figure it out. We'll roll up a character. I want, as part of community building, I want you to have that tabletop experience and get involved in D&D. Get involved in role-playing games. But in terms of a regular gaming group, it's the same players every week, but occasionally as a campaign moves on, we might lose a player because changes in work schedule or school, or perhaps a new player might join. I might know them, meaning they couldn't play the game in the beginning, but again, work and school have changed, now they can. Or it's a new friend to D&D, they are free, they want to join in. Pulling that character in, pulling that player in. How do we do that, especially if we're a number of adventures into the campaign? You know, we started at level 1, we're at level 7, we're at level 8. What would be fair? How do we bring them in? Now, I need to keep in mind the challenge rating, because if I set the adventure for 6 players, and they're, level 7, 8, if I bring in another player at level 7 or 8, that's going to maybe push the challenge rating for what I have planned moving ahead. If I bring that new player in at level 1, they're just going to get absolutely squashed. If I bring them in a few levels behind, so if the party is level 6, and I say, well, the party's been earning, and this could be an internal decision, the party's been earning that XP, and they're at level 6, I'm going to bring you in at level 4. Because this way you can keep up with the adventures, but you have to earn your experience like the other players. I find, and that is a possibility, but I find that doesn't work very well. And I've experimented with it. It doesn't work very well because that new player to the table, they're going to constantly be behind in experience. Even though based on level and challenge rating and the sliding scale, in theory, they should be getting a little bit bigger bite of experience. They're always going to be lagging behind, and they're always going to have less abilities, less feats, less spells, whatever the magic is of their character. That can be a little bit of a downer in terms of power level and in terms of engagement and ownership of the character. So I want to bring them in. I want to bring them in at the level of the party. So what I do is I look at the experience of all the players, and I come up with an average for that level. So if we're at level 6, and I average and everyone's about halfway through level 6, getting ready for 7, that's where I'll bring in the new player. And we'll come up with a backstory. We'll come up with a reason why they've gotten that experience. In terms of magic items, I think it's easiest just to handle the idea of assigning them a gold piece value, and they can purchase what would be expected and common magic items for their character class in the campaign in the moment. And this is where things have to be kind of interesting, because as you advance in Dungeons and Dragons, especially if you've played it before, there's going to be certain magic items that you'd like to obtain, usually on the wondrous item list. So as you adventure, you're on the lookout for these items, and if you don't discover them, the magic items that you do get, the gems, the gold, the treasure, you're going to convert that, and through role-playing, you're going to look to buy certain magic items. You really want that bag of holding. At some point, you're going to take the gold and ask the DM, can I find a merchant or a wizard that can sell me a bag of holding? If I bring in a new player and I say, look, here's just a giant sack of 30,000 gold pieces, buy what you want, and they buy the gear exactly what they want, wondrous items and very, very specific gear, well, now that's a little bit unfair to the other players, and there's a little bit of lack of balance in terms of earning those magic items. So what I like to do is just work with the player and say, based if we're looking at level 6 and you're a fighter, you're going to have some magical armor. You're going to have some potions. You're going to have a magic weapon. You might have 1 or 2 magic rings. But the wondrous items, you're going to have to wait. You're going to have to keep them and find them in the game. Now, that's not to say they have to spend all of their gold, because the gold for magic items is assigned per level and per challenge rating. So they can decide to equip themselves and in this example, keep 10,000 gold. That would be fair. They haven't decided to spend it. Maybe they've been earning it all along. And then I would pull them into the game. And if they want certain wondrous items or certain powerful magic items, now that they're in the party, they can look and they can explore and build and save the money. It's been my experience when bringing in players at the same level, there has been no resistance from the party. I've never had any resistance because the other players realize, hey, this is a new person coming in. And, okay, on the one hand, they haven't earned it, so to speak, but there is a backstory. You could easily fill in they've been adventuring somewhere else. And we are literally, we're friends. We're physically tabletop friends, but as a party, we're working together. This is not a competition. We don't want a new character coming in. And as a result, the party's weaker, or the party's at a disadvantage. Or in the case of an encounter, the cleric will have to spend more heals keeping this character going. We want them brought in at the same place and the same power level as the other players.